So Scout Proft has been called the Alice Waters of the East Coast and is well respected throughout the state as both an educator and as a farming authority. She received the prestigious Jack Cook Farmer of the Year Award at the NOFA Vermont Winter Conference in 2014. Scout serves as a consultant to NOFA and often presents various education workshops at local schools and community centers. And she is a wonderful friend of the library and has donated her time in the past for us. And we're just very thrilled to have her here. So thank you, Scout.
I don't know if this works. I guess it does, darn it all. Someday Farm. I don't want to toot our own horn, but it's an example of a local farm. We raise, Maria's in charge of the we have working partners on our farm. Maria's in charge of the compost and helps with the vegetables. Evan raises a large amount of pheasants and does the turkeys and meat chickens. Mara in the back does all of our small fruits, which are not small like this, but anything not grown on a tree is a small fruit. And she does our waterfowl, ducks and geese as well, and helps with the vegetables. And since I'm the matriarch, I get to do a little bit of everything, but mostly the vegetables. And laying hens, which we have. So we've got 8,000 birds and 5 acres of vegetables and a large woodlot that Eben is in charge of, and we just worry about him when we don't see him and we hear the tractor running in the far distance. So we have a very, very diversified farm besides milk cows and beef cows and a startup sheep operation. So you can find us in Dorset as well as in East Dorset. And we're also very committed to educating Vermont about agriculture. So I would like to know what you had for dinner last night.
Dinner last night. Oh, I had rice.
Rice?
And chicken.
Chicken. Rice and chicken. Can you tell us what you had for dinner last night?
Tofu, cauliflower, and quinoa.
Tofu, cauliflower, and quinoa.
It's very white.
Let's remember these foods. Madame Jill.
Broccoli.
Broccoli.
Cottage cheese.
Cottage cheese. And meatballs. Ooh, is that balanced diet? We'll talk about that later. Somebody else. You in the green.
A new recipe for kale.
Kale. Thank you.
It's easy.
Easy. Okay, kale. That's all you had?
I'm sorry?
That's all you had for dinner?
Chicken and sun-dried tomatoes and kale.
Sun-dried tomatoes. Wow, you're my poster child. So, how many of those foods could have been grown in Vermont? What, say your product, what you ate again?
Rice, and I had
rice
with vegetables in it.
Okay, and vegetables. You use your hands like this. Vegetables. Can rice be grown in Vermont?
No.
Look at my head.
Yes.
Yes, rice is grown in Brattleboro and up in Burlington. Can mixed vegetables be grown in Vermont? Yes. All year long?
Yeah.
Yes. What was yours?
Tofu.
Tofu, which is fermented soybeans. Can soybeans be grown in Vermont? Yes. What else? Cauliflower? Yes. Can you pick up cauliflower now? Yes. Quinoa? Mara, can you grow quinoa in Vermont?
It's debatable.
Debatable. She's got experience.
Broccoli.
Broccoli, grown in Vermont?
Cottage cheese.
Cottage cheese?
Yeah.
Come on. It's dairy.
Yes.
Yeah, cottage cheese. Meatballs, yes. Okay. Oh, kale, duh. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, did I like plant you guys in the audience? Yeah. So everything here that you guys ate for dinner could have been grown in Vermont.
You're going to ask me if I bought.
If you bought that from Vermont. So how many people, raise your hand, how many of all of you have either bought direct from a farm, have a CSA, been at a farm stand more than 4 times, or a farmer's market more than 4 times? Okay. Oh, goodbye. You don't need me. I'm out of here. Yeah, well, whatever. So I beg to differ with someone who just said there's not a lot of farms in this area, because we rock. We have so many farms in this area, but the thing is, none of us are out in the public talking about it because nobody wants to talk about it, especially, including me. I was bribed. But working partners, can you stand in your appropriate places? I counted, and there's a list in the back, all the farms within 20 miles of here, from where you're sitting right now. And I didn't even use Google Maps to do it. So, I've got the West. I'll start. West, consider Bardwell Farm, West Paulet, cheese, milk, goat, meat. Trifolium Farms, Dorset, honey and mushrooms. Mount Brook Farm in Dorset, beefalo. Maria.
Wilcox Farm, Manchester, cow dairy, liquid dairy products, and ice cream. Pickering Farm, Arlington, Vermont, vegetables, fruit, and eggs.
Eben.
Haven Hill Farm, South Londonderry, Vermont, raw milk, cheese, butter. Taylor Farm, Londonderry, Vermont, fluid milk, cheese, and beef. Mad Holland Orchard, East Dorset. Apples, raspberries. Woodbury Gamebirds, Dorset, Vermont. Pheasants, beef, and turkey. Dutton's Farm, Manchester. Vegetables, fruit, and maple syrup. Wildwood Farm, East Dorset, blueberries, raspberries. Larson Farm, Wells, Vermont, beef and raw milk.
Mara.
And then the north, there's Kingsley Farm in West Pollitt, raising pork.
Woo! Yeah, Hadley stock.
Lee's Farm in Pollitt, Vermont, raspberries, blueberries, and strawberries. Lassen Child Farm in Pollitt, Vermont, raising potatoes. Up Tunkett Farm in Pollitt, Vermont, raising beef and eggs. And Yoder Farm in Danby, Vermont, vegetables, chicken, fruit, popcorn, beans, 5 ranch chickens, some chicken too.
Could you,
Some more still. I'm not done.
oh, I'm sorry.
Farm, Shaftesbury, Clearbrook, vegetables and fruit, Earth Sky Thyme right here in Manchester, vegetables, and Someday Farm, Dorset, vegetables, fruit, poultry, eggs, and lamb.
All right. So could you possibly, for 1 week, only eat Vermont product? I would call us, if we were to make a pledge, I would say that we could become, new word, Cindy, wherever she is, Northshire Vors. I thought that was pretty good. That was in the middle of the night between a greenhouse stoke and checking the cows. But, so we're vibrant in the Northshire, and we're going to go back to that. But U.S. agriculture, we only spend 10% of our food, of our money goes to food, 10%. In Europe, it's 40%. 10 years ago, it was 17%. Further back, it was 20%. We're spending less money on food than we ever have been before. And we have less connection to our food than ever before. More than 80% of American food is coming from consolidated food. And most of those foods are coming from industrial agriculture and not family farms. So they're farms that are owned by large corporations, so they can do write-off. Bayer Aspirin owns farms, Monsanto owns farms, Cargill owns farms. A lot of farms are owned by non-farmers. Most farms across the Midwest are actually farmed not by the people who own them, but by the people who are employed by them. A sad case in point. Not in Vermont. We're different. Unfortunately, 35% of our, I'm not going to give you a lot of numbers, so nobody's writing this down, are they? You should all have your pencils and pens out. 35% of our food is wasted. Imagine that. You agreed with me. Yeah. 35%. So if you look in your refrigerator tonight, you open it up, you said, that's bad. I'm not going to get to that. And maybe it's like, I'll eat that in a week from now, but you're not really going to. If you bought it from a food market, a farm stand, or picked up a box at a CSA, do you think you would throw away that much? Probably not, because you paid more money for it. So you're like, oh my gosh, that tomato cost $2. Ah, I can't waste that. Versus the tomato you bought in the supermarket from Idaho that started off as green, turned pink, finally turned red. You're like, oh, well, you know, I can toss it out. It's, you know, it only cost me 95 cents.
Doesn't taste like anything either.
Because it tastes like sawdust, because it's been on a truck for 3 weeks. Yeah. Most food travels you've heard this, 1,500 miles to get to Vermont. 1,500 miles. And unfortunately, it's even more so for organic food. Organic food is traveling further. So organic food has to be picked at a time when it's not ready, when it's not ripe, when its nutritive value is not at its peak. It doesn't ever get to its nutritive value when it gets to us because it's a different variety. It's the buy local thing. If we save, going back to the 35%, if we saved 15% of that 35%, we could feed 25 million Americans in the United States every year. I'm not putting guilt on you guys, but it's just an information. It's an interesting thought that when people say, I had an intense, you could call it a disagreement, with a customer. We do shares at our farm stand. I had a disagreement with a customer who said small farms cannot feed the world. If I had short hair, my hair would have stood on end. And I said, oh yeah, we could, because it all goes down to not wasting that 35%. And doing just what you all said, is eating more local, or having the potential, except for the quinoa, which Mara can't seem to quite get planted out. So we have a US agricultural system that is not really working. Not only is it transporting long distances, not only is it making it so we waste more, and besides that, we are actually losing more soil now than we did in the Dust Bowl years. And what's the importance of soil? Everything. Every real food is the give me a non-real food. What's a non-real food?
McDonald's.
Well, McDonald's, that's a non-food.
Chocolate cereal.
Okay, Rice Krispies, or anything that's so adulterated that it no longer is in its natural form. Well, we know Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Twinkies, those would be non-food items. So.
Milk.
Milk. What about milk? Milk is now in so many different forms, it's no longer at its natural down roots form. But it all goes back. What are you really eating? You're not eating food, you're eating soil. Because without the soil, you could not grow any of those foods. It's just an interesting concept. So if we don't nurture our soil, we're not going to have healthy foods. We don't know what they're doing out west with our soils. They're not probably doing a heck of a lot. In Vermont, we are doing a heck of a lot. We're nurturing our soils, so we're growing healthy foods, and we can because it's local. You guys are looking either really quiet, totally like inverted into what I'm talking about. Sally?
How do you nurture your soil?
Oh, well, we can do it all in all sorts of ways, and I don't want to get into I don't want to get into the practices of agriculture, but it's a lot of cover crops, it's a lot of manures, it's a lot of organic materials put on top of your soil, it's a lot of rotations, and Eben does that a lot with his turkeys. And Mara does that a lot with feeding her small fruits. Compost, which is what Maria takes all the waste and turns it into food for our plants from all of our animals, which is why we're diversified. So in going past that, we now have a agricultural system that is basically tired and it's not working. But wait. Oh, Miss B, you have something to read that's just, it says a lot about where our food is right now. I talked about that it's not nutritional, coming from a long distance. I got this Vermont bread the other day. I don't know why, because I shop usually at New Morning, and she only has local bread. Tell me what's in that Vermont bread.
Well, it starts out with enriched wheat flour, bleached, then flour, niacin, iron, thiamine, riboflavin, folic acid, water, yeast, sugar, salt, soybean oil, malt, calcium sulfate, distilled monoglycerides, guar gum, corn syrup, solids, data, calcium sulfate, potassium bromate, ascorbic acid, glycine, enzyme, I can't read the next one, and it's seeded, but it also contains pesticides. This is a Vermont.
That's a Vermont product. It kind of alters my whole talk today because I'm trying to get you all to buy even more local. Most of the foods that are coming from non-East Coast local, whatever local means, which we will get to in a minute, most of it has labels on it. It has to. It's got so many preservatives in order to get it here. Versus if you buy local, there's not a lot of ingredients. Actually, there's probably not a lot of packaging. We get our bread from Earth Sky Time. We get our pork from Pink Boot Farm. And here's the ingredients of the bakery in Rutland. She's got the glasses.
Unbleached white flour, water, rye flour, chopped rye, orange juice, molasses, sunflower seeds, millet seeds, poppy seeds, pumpkin seeds, soy oil, yeast, salt, and orange zest. I could pronounce all those words.
Yeah, you could spell them too. Well, she's the, yeah. Quite a difference. They're all foods. Right, they're not additives. So that's the difference in purchasing out west, something you don't know, it's traveling a long distance, versus a Vermont product. Why do you buy Vermont product? Why are we sitting here, and actually you all came here today except to sit down and not deal with the cold weather outside today. We spend $2.6 million on food in Vermont. The food industry, I should re-say that. The food industry in Vermont produces $2.6 million. Because we have people, not only farmers, but we have people who are buying grain, we have people who are, restaurants, we have caterers, all different aspects of food. That's $2.6 million, people involved in the food industry. Schools as well. So we have a lot of involvement in this. What else in Vermont is special is that we are the, and Cindy said this, or someone else said this and I disagreed, we actually in Vermont have more farmers growing in Vermont. We're still losing farmland, but the numbers of farmers in Vermont is growing. Who would have guessed? You know the reason? It's because of her. It's because of those two wonderful people in the back. Who else looks young here? I mean, all of you guys look young, but oops. Maybe you? Who here is under 35 years old who wants to be in the agricultural type? Hadley, you're under 35. There you go, atta girl, and you. It's because of these folks. Awesome. It's because of these folks that we are the only state that actually has an increase in number of farmers. We're still losing our farmland, and that's up to you all to vote about saving farmland, or any land, which we will get to later. So we're the only state, we're also the first state that actually has, per capita, has more direct markets than any other state. Direct markets, CSA, farm stands, farm markets. And and other sources of direct markets. It might even be a delivery system, like John Pollard over here, who has a wonderful milk product business, dairy farm. That's pretty exciting, that is too. We're also one of the first states to mandate composting of food scraps by 2020. We're also we're top of the line as far as food education for children. It's very exciting. California's calling us and saying, hey, what about this farmer letter correspondence that you do where farmers write to school children in their classroom? Can you tell us how you do that? And I was like, yeah, that was started in East Dorset, Vermont, with 5 farms in this area, and now it's going across the country. We're also one of the first states that has a organized apprenticeship program, first year, second year, and right before you own a farm. 3 different kind of programs for startup farmers. We're also the first state, you guys are all going like this, right? My state, we could sing the Vermont song right now. We're also the first state to define the word local. It's like, come on, isn't that awesome? The U.S. government was behind us on this. I mean, they did it after us. They're looking to us for it. So the definition of local agriculture is, of course, it has to be within the state of Vermont or 30 miles outside the state of Vermont, where they're bringing it in only 30 miles into Vermont. So if you've got a farmer's market in Brattleboro and they're saying we only provide local, they've got to get their product only 30 miles outside the line of Vermont to bring it in. Definition of local. That's pretty awesome. So what else are we have in that's just Vermont? Maybe I should look at my notes. What other things? Direct markets, farmer correspondence. We have the first community-supported agriculture farm. Actually, it's probably the second community-supported agricultural farm in the country. It's the first one in Vermont. It actually happened in East Dorset, Vermont. You know where East Dorset, Vermont is, don't you? That's pretty local, isn't it? Yeah, it happened how old are you, Eben? 26. So it happened 27 years ago. You can guess what farm it was started on. Do you know what community-supported agriculture is? CSA, where you buy a box or you prepay for your product, and that helps the farmers with their springtime costs, as well as gives them a market throughout the year. Incredibly important. Our farm could not survive without our 75, 85 shareholders. Definitely not. And some of you are shareholders of ours as well. Steve Berry is one of them, who's in the back.
Well, what I love about Manchester, I come from out of state, is they have a community garden. So not even with no land, but for a small amount of money, I can get a 22 by 22 plot, and I grew so much food in that. So the whole idea is it's community garden, I think is great.
It's enormous, yeah, and we're going to go over that a little bit, thinking about what kind of time I have. We also have laws that help farmers. We have a lot of laws that don't help farmers in Vermont. We're working on a raw milk. John is helping with that, a raw milk law to try to get more raw, fresh, healthy milk into as many people's hands as possible. And that's happening now. That's through Rutland Area Farm and Food Link. We are trying to get, Eben and Mara are trying to get a new poultry law in effect that will try to get more fresh, local chickens and turkeys into people's homes, still with being inspected and healthy, but to more access. We're working on those bills all the time. Vermont is also the state with the most amount of nonprofits that are agriculturally oriented. NOFA Vermont is one, Northeast Organic Farmers Association. We have Rutland Area Farm and Food Link. We have Rural Vermont. We have, of course, the Vermont Land Trust. We have Northshire Grows. Am I missing any more? There's more up in the north, but I'm thinking more specifically to the Northshire area.
Smoky House Center.
Smoky House Center, nonprofit that helps kids get educated in how to be farmers and foresters and work the land. So there's the Work, Forest, and Farmland Center as well. So we have a lot more nonprofits in Vermont than any other place. But, and Sally, you're holding your breath, but, and I wish that some of our, well, Steve Berry is a shareholder of ours, but Vermonters only spend, on average, $35 per year on Vermont food. Damn it. Do you want to repeat that word? Damn it. That's not right. $35, well, then we've got the some folks like Miss B over here who's committed, so committed that she's probably, should I say how much? She's got a share for $250. But some of you guys aren't spending a penny. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm not going to say anything else about that. So, definition of local we went over, direct markets we went over. For CSA, the most amount of CSAs per capita in Vermont. The compost bill we went over. School programs, we have more agricultural education school programs in Vermont than anywhere. Loss of farm, I told you about this. Young farmers increase. Land is actually decreasing. More nonprofits, $35 on average. And unfortunately, the last one I want to tell you about, so you guys can get sad before we get riled up again, is that more farmers in Vermont and across the nation have outside incomes, which is sad. And that goes directly tied into how much money you're spending on food in Vermont. It's too bad that here we work a 16-hour day. I don't know, Eben probably works more than 16-hour days. He falls asleep in front of his wood stove. We spend all these hours working. We support local. We don't have time to go get grain in Idaho. We buy our local building supplies from RK Miles. We buy totally local, and yet we have to have outside jobs in order to farm. It doesn't make sense. 80% of farmers in Vermont have to have off-farm jobs. Of those, 75% of those farmers, their outside income actually makes more money than their full-time farming. Ay, ay, ay. But we can change that, right? And who's going to change that number? He's smiling and pointing at himself. Good. We can change that. But we have to be committed. When you go to the grocery store, and there's a handout in the back, when you go to the grocery store, what are you going to do? Are you going to go to Shaw's and buy New Hampshire apple cider? Because that's the only thing they have, is New Hampshire apple cider. What are you going to do? Go to Dutton's. Or go to Dutton's, or go to the market, or go to a farm stand, or go, what?
Tell the manager.
Can you say that louder?
Tell the manager.
Tell the manager. If all of you went to your grocery store in the next month and had one item that you questioned them about and buying local, you would make a change. See, are you feeling better? Absolutely. I'll send you my consulting fee later, my therapy fee. So why local? This is more for me than for you. Culturally, we buy local because all farmers are directly tied to their community. I'm writing to 3 schools every month and telling these little school children what we're doing on the farm. There's all sorts of programs where farmers are directly involved in their community, whether they're giving workshops or they're giving tours, they're doing taste tests, they're in the schools reading books, they're going to the library and doing seeding demonstrations. Maria and I, in May, we're doing a soil workshop here, and then we're going to be doing some seeding with children. So culturally, it's way advantageous to be involved in local agriculture. Economically, Yeah, we spend it's a $2.6 billion business in Vermont. Economically, it makes sense because farms are beautiful. Well, my farm will be beautiful after I clean it up tomorrow, but farms are beautiful. What do you think of when you think of Vermont? Say the right thing, don't say shopping. What do you think of when you think of Vermont?
Trees.
Farms, trees, barns. What else?
Rivers.
Greenery, rivers. Cows, yes, cows. The Battenkill River. Ned likes the Battenkill River. We're thinking of natural resources and we're thinking of farms. That's tourism dollar. Nobody's pinpointed, put their thumb on the actual amount of money that farms bring in. We rent a farm on Route 30. It was slated for 6 houses. Do you think people are going to go buy that 6-house development and be like, oh my gosh, that's so pretty? No, they're going to buy that now. Thanks to our wonderful landlords who gave us the opportunity to farm that. It now has the 68, 70 acres are so filled with our agricultural activities. And people are going by and going like, oh, I'm sure we're the reason for many accidents. They're going, oh my gosh, they have new lambs. Oh my gosh, one of Eben's pheasants is out. They're like going by and they're so enjoying the fact that that land is open. It's economically, it pays to buy local. I'm trying to win you over. Environmentally, does it pay to buy local? Sure. As Sally kind of said in her question, environmentally, Vermonters are so taking care of their soil. We have to. It's shallow to begin with. We're taking care of our water. We have to, because we're being watched all the time. We're also taking care of our environment because we have a lot of resources to help us. We have a lot of people all over who are giving us grants. And the University of Vermont is doing soil tests with us, and they're doing water quality analysis. So they're helping us out environmentally. But we're visible. People are watching us all the time. That's a good thing. Socially, it's good to buy local. And we could say for a lot of reasons, but socially it is because we can take care of those people in need. Mara and John are in part of a large gleaning program in this area with the Dorset Farmers Market and the Londonderry's Farmers Market. We're helping to take care of those people who cannot afford to buy local. Almost everyone in this community is being touched by local agriculture. And by GSM, if we have it our way, everyone will have access to local food, no matter their income. And we have lots of these organizations, nonprofit and farmers, who are making sure that happens. And even us as farmers who have little income are making sure that our extra product is going to people in need, not only through the food shelf, but just being left at their doorstep. They don't even know where it's coming from, but they're getting it. That's happening in Vermont. But by you buying local, farmers who don't get paid a lot to begin with can help make that food available to people in need. It's an exciting time. Health-wise, of course it's more valuable to buy local. We talked about the food coming from way out. It's also, we can see it in when Miss B and Maria read the label of the breads. We can see the difference health-wise. It's traceable. Here's yogurt that I just made a couple of days ago from my beloved cow. Cricket is her name, in case you needed to know. What's in this yogurt? Milk. That's it. Go to the store. You go to the store tomorrow and look at the yogurt ingredients. Tell me what's in it. And then tell me which you would prefer to buy. A local yogurt, local milk, local dairy products, or that stuff in the store. And then what's your homework? You're going to go to Shaw's and do what?
Tell them that they have to buy local.
Whew, good thing. right, you have to buy local. So I've got like 3 more minutes, and I'm always on time, even if I have lots of kids. Can I have Mara, can you come up? There's a lot to say. Yeah, a lot to say. So, now you guys are all converted to local. You're all set. You're not going to buy anything with a label on it. It's all going to have non-labels on it. So, I've just converted you. We can make a pledge. I will now be a Northshire War. But in order to do that, we need to have more farms in the areas, and we're going to have more farmers. She's going to start a salsa business.
Well, I was going to start with a garden.
Oh, she's going to start with the garden. But we're going to help her get up and be a farmer. But we're going to redesign the Northshire area. This is my PowerPoint presentation. You like it, huh? It's very organic. So these are the places that are in existence that are nonprofits or public buildings, correct? You got a good picture of that, Steve? Okay. Riley Rink, the Synagogue, Vermont Country Store, Northshire Day School, Manchester Library, point with us here, MEMS, Dorset Library, Dorset Church, Long Trail School, the Forest and Parks area, Bromley Brook, Equinox Terrace, Maple Street School, Orvis, Manchester Congregational, BBA, and Equinox Preserve. I'm going to redesign the Northshire, and you guys are going to then, in the next 2 or 3 years, make this happen. And I'm just going to sit back. So we are going to, we would do this, I do this with high school kids, and we actually convert their community. That's part of the cultural aspect of Wine Buy Local. I help them convert their community into a place where they can eat. So, Manchester Library, we're going to put beehives here, okay? We'll put beehives there. Nut trees, where are we going to put some nut trees? Let's put, for eating.
Landscape on a new building.
Landscape around a new building. We're going to put nut trees. Do we have a new building here? Manchester Library. We could put nut trees around the library and bees around the library. Let's put some nut trees over by the Equinox Preserve as well. Take out the invasive with a bunch of high school kids and put a bunch of nut trees over there. Fruit trees. Let's put some fruit trees. Let's start an orchard over by Long Trail School. Okay, they could prune them. Maybe we could have a contribution of compost from Someday Farm, and we could get Garden Club to give us some money, and we'll put in a bunch of fruit trees over at Long Trail School. Okay, we've got honey, we've got nut trees, we've got apple trees over here. Small fruits. Let's see. Let's put some small fruits by Equinox Terrace. They could see them, they could harvest them, and then they could share them with the Maple Street School kids. It could be kind of a partnership. Maybe the Maple Street School kids could then sell them to people at Orvis. Oh, they're right next door. So now we've got Equinox Terrace, Maple Street School, and Orvis all working together on a fairly large size, small fruit operation. Let's say we do 5 or 6 plots the size of this room. There's room around. Visualize Equinox Terrace for you all who live here. There's plenty of room around there. And now we've got all these able bodies being able to actually help in the production of small fruits. Cut flowers, fresh and dry. Oh, Equinox Terrace. They have to have, oh, come on now. They have to have fresh flowers at Equinox Terrace. And maybe at the synagogue also. Let's put some flowers at the synagogue. A large, we're not talking little bitty plots. We're talking plots the size of this room or bigger. We're talking production. Why are we talking production? Because we want to feed not only your bodies, but your souls. Food and flowers. Potatoes, winter squash and pumpkins. I don't have a lot of time yet. Recreational center. Let's put in a large plot of potatoes, and then we could get Manchester Elementary Middle School right next door to plant those potatoes. They could harvest them in the fall, and then they could take them over, maybe some of them, to the Equinox Terrace. Or they could take them to the food cupboard, the food shelf, which I didn't put down here. Food shelf over here.
Or the Dorset Church.
Miss B, who works at MEMS, could help do that, and maybe Jill from Long Trail School. You could grow, how about you grow, Jill, Long Trail School, you could grow some popcorn and dried corn, turn it into cornmeal. And then you could, how about you take that dried corn and popcorn, sell it at the Dorset Church at their annual book sale, and then give that money to people in need, or help give it to the food shelf, or give it to the gleaning program so that they could source more food local from their farmers and then get it to people in need. Greenhouses, where could we put some greenhouses?
Vermont Country Store.
Vermont Country Store. Let's put them right in the front. That big pasture right in the front. It's totally empty. What do you have? Don't get me started. Oh, wait a second, I'm already started. Vermont Country Store. See the green? It's showing you. The green is showing you that that's all production sites. So we could put greenhouses in front of the Vermont Country Store. All those workers who are inside on their computers come outside, work in their greenhouses on the time off. Wow, Burr and Burton could bring the kids over there. Instead of going up on the mountain campus, they could just go right next door and work in those greenhouses. Yeah, exciting. Mixed vegetables for the summertime? BBA. BBA, they just bought 22 acres of new land. Let's turn it into a mixed vegetable operation.
We need soccer fields.
Yeah, we'll surround it. Compost pickup sites. Maria, where do you want to put your compost pickup sites?
Vermont Country Store. Well, everywhere, basically.
Everywhere.
Yep.
Come on, you greedy.
Right, Orvis, Vermont Country Store. What else would be good, you guys? Schools.
Different areas. All the schools?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Got a nice central one. Yep.
And then the non-production aspect of this, and I have just a few more minutes, is value-added kitchens. Where do we have value-added? Do we need to build new value-added kitchens? No. I say no. We already have value-added kitchens.
Commercial kitchen.
Commercial kitchen. Where do we have commercial kitchens already? Schools. How many schools do we have in this area? Lots. How many churches do we have in this area? Lots. Do we have already certified kitchens?
Yes.
Do we need more? Probably not. Let's use the resources we have, which will bind us as a community.
Okay, this is brilliant.
This is brilliant.
It's fabulous.
Yeah.
But how do we take this from this plan into action?
We'll have, yeah.
Is this something that, you're just doing, or this is doable and you have something in mind where there could be seed money?
Seed money?
Yeah, no pun intended.
This is the vision.
To raise the money
Okay.
to make this happen, maybe in smaller steps first and then bigger and bigger. So how do we as a community?
Yes. Manchester Transition Town is starting to do that. They're starting to put fruit trees around, but it's just a start. So maybe Cindy needs to invite us all here again. What is it now? It's March. Maybe in maybe in August. And to really sit down here and say, okay, where could we get the seed money? Who would be in charge of, who 5 people would like to help to buy and plant the fruit trees? And who will contact Equinox Valley Nursery and Meadowy Mill Nursery to donate or barter or something for the fruit trees? There is definitely ways to make this happen. And this would make the Northshire really have an identity. No longer would be the shopping mecca. We would be the Northshire landscape. It's an exciting possibility. And you know darn well we wouldn't have empty storefronts then. They would not only come to the storefronts, but they would come to see the bees, and they would come to see the fruit trees, and they would come to look at the cut flowers. It would benefit everyone, and not just people coming from the outside and buying at stores. We have an incredible chance to change the Northshire area. This is my proposal. We'll get back to you on that.